The unraveling of identity. A son's discovery sends shockwaves through Port Charles. In the emotionally charged world of Port Charles, where secrets are a more common currency than cash and foundations are built on shifting sands, the past is never truly buried. It lies in wait, a dormant volcano, ready to erupt and reshape the landscape of relationships and identities. For young Rocco Falconeri, that eruption has finally come, not with a bang, but with the quiet rustle of a hidden file, a file that has single-handedly detonated the very truth of his existence and promises to leave a trail of familial destruction in its wake. This is not just another secret revealed. It is the fundamental shattering of a young man's identity, a crisis that threatens to tear apart the fabric of the Falconeri, Spencer, and Quartermain families. The ground beneath Rocco's feet didn't just crack, it crumbled into dust. The discovery that the woman he has known, loved, and mourned as his birth mother, Lulu Spencer, did not biologically carry him is a revelation of seismic proportions. The truth, far more complex and sordid, lies with a name he is likely only known as a peripheral figure in his family's complicated history, Dr. Britt Westbourne. As Rocco grapples with this life-altering information, the fallout is just beginning, sending ripples of consequence across a city already teeming with drama, betrayal, and high-stakes conflict. This article delves into the intricate history of this profound deception, the emotional confrontation that has brought it to light, and the far-reaching implications for everyone caught in its devastating path. A tangled web of deceit, the sordid history of Rocco's birth. To understand the weight of Rocco's discovery, one must travel back to a time when the key players were different people, driven by desperation, ambition, and a twisted sense of love. The story of Rocco's conception is a quintessential Port Charles tragedy, born from heartbreak and criminal manipulation. At the heart of it were Lulu Spencer and Dante Falconeri, a legacy couple desperate to start a family, but facing the cruel reality of infertility. Their journey led them to the hope of modern medicine, in vitro fertilization. They created an embryo, a tiny spark of their shared love, which they entrusted to General Hospital, believing their dream of parenthood was finally within reach. Enter Dr. Britt Westbourne, the Britch, a woman then defined by her obsessive and unrequited love for Dr. Patrick Drake. Ambitious, cunning, and morally flexible, Britt saw an opportunity not just for a child, but for leverage. With the help of her notoriously villainous mother, the diabolical Dr. Liesel Albrecht, Britt orchestrated an unthinkable crime. They stole Lulu and Dante's fertilized egg from the lab. In a stunning act of medical and personal violation, Liesel implanted the embryo into her own daughter. Britt's deception didn't stop there. To complete her scheme to win Patrick's heart, she falsely claimed he was the father, creating a fictional narrative around her pregnancy. For months, she carried the child, whom she named Ben Westbourne upon his birth, all while Lulu and Dante remained tragically unaware that their biological son was being raised by another woman as part of an elaborate romantic ploy. The eventual unraveling of this lie was a maelstrom of drama, leading to heartbreak for Patrick, fury from Lulu and Dante, and a custody battle that finally united the infant, renamed Rocco, with his biological parents. For years, this dark chapter seemed closed, the complex origins of his birth a story deemed too painful and complicated to burden a growing child with. They chose to be his parents in every way that mattered, hoping the biological truth could remain a footnote in a history he would never need to read. The catalyst of chaos. Brooklyn's fateful file. Secrets in Port Charles, however, have a shelf life. The catalyst for this current crisis comes in the form of Brooklyn Quartermain, a character whose propensity for meddling is as legendary as her family's wealth. Often with misguided intentions, Brooklyn's schemes have a history of spiraling out of control, causing widespread collateral damage. True to form, she had gathered a dossier on Rocco's history, containing the irrefutable, explosive evidence of his true parentage, including, most damningly, Benjamin Westbourne's actual birth certificate. While her motives for compiling this information remain a subject of speculation, was it for blackmail, leverage in a business deal, or some twisted attempt to protect her family, The outcome was inevitable. By sheer chance, Rocco happened upon the file. In a quiet moment that belied the coming storm, he opened it and saw his world tilt on its axis. The name on the file, the documents within, the cold, hard facts of medical reports, they all pointed to an impossible truth. The woman he called Mom was not his birth mother. This discovery ignited a firestorm of questions. Why would Brooklyn have this information? What did she plan to do with it? And the most painful question of all, had his entire life been a lie? Armed with this devastating knowledge, Rocco's first instinct was to seek out the one person he believed could make sense of it all, his mother, Lulu. The confrontation, a mother's pain, a son's betrayal. The ensuing confrontation was a masterclass in soap opera heartbreak. Finding Lulu at Kelly's diner, Rocco, his face a mask of confusion and betrayal, presented her with the evidence. The emotional weight of the scene was palpable as he laid out the file, his voice trembling as he demanded answers. He had to know if it was true, if Britt Westbourne had carried him. Forced to confront the ghosts of her past, Lulu's composure shattered. With tears welling in her eyes, she confirmed the devastating truth. She recounted the painful history of the stolen embryo, the fight to get him back, and the decision she and Dante made to raise him as their own, shielding him from the ugly details of his conception. Her defense was one of pure, maternal love. "I didn't carry you, and I didn't give birth to you," she admitted, her voice thick with emotion. "But I loved you from the moment I saw you. You were my son." But for Rocco, the distinction was lost in the sting of betrayal. "Were," he echoed, the past tense a dagger to Lulu's heart. His pain was raw and absolute. His life, as he knew it, was built on a lie. The love he thought was a simple, biological fact was, in his eyes, a complicated narrative he was never privy to. Lulu's explanation that love, not biology, makes a mother, fell on ears deafened by the shock of deception. "You let me believe you were my real mom," he accused, the words hanging in the air with unbearable weight. "That you and Dad created me. But you didn't. Britt did. With Dad's sperm." This confrontation has fractured the very foundation of the Falconeri family. Rocco, feeling unmoored and betrayed, may now distance himself from both Lulu and Dante. The lie, kept for his protection, has become the very thing that may drive him away. The expanding ripples. Consequences for a city in turmoil. This single revelation does not exist in a vacuum. In Port Charles, every action triggers a chain reaction, and the shockwaves of Rocco's discovery are already beginning to spread, intersecting with the city's other simmering dramas. The crisis further complicates the already strained dynamics within the Quartermain family. Brooklyn, the architect of this latest chaos, will undoubtedly face the wrath of her family, particularly her grandmother, Tracy Quartermain. A ruthless matriarch known for her sharp tongue and manipulative tendencies, Tracy is already embroiled in a public campaign to discredit Drew Kane. It is not a stretch to imagine her leveraging this new family crisis to her advantage, further destabilizing her perceived enemies. Moreover, Rocco's newfound knowledge of his biological connection to Britt Westbourne could lead him down an entirely new path. Feeling alienated from the family he thought was his, he may seek out a connection to his surrogate mother's world. Speculation is already mounting that he could develop a bond with his newfound half-brother, Gio Palmieri, creating a fresh dynamic and a potential new source of conflict as he searches for a sense of belonging. This personal drama unfolds against a backdrop of wider city crises. In a parallel storyline of parental control and custody, Michael Corinthos has issued a chilling ultimatum to Willow Tate. If she proceeds with her plan to marry Drew Kane, he will ensure she never sees her children again. His overt threat stands in stark contrast to Lulu's long-held secret, yet both scenarios highlight the painful ways in which children become pawns in the emotional wars of adults. Meanwhile, the city's criminal underworld churns on. Sonny Corinthos and his enforcer, Jason Morgan, are busy orchestrating a plan to neutralize Ada Turner by making her key witness disappear, a stark reminder of the high-stakes violence that coexists with these deeply personal heartbreaks. Elsewhere, The complex triangle between Curtis Ashford, Portia Robinson, and Jordan Ashford continues to smolder, fueled by jealousy and mistrust, another testament to the destructive power of secrets. Conclusion: the scars that remain. The story of Rocco Falconeri is a poignant exploration of identity, betrayal, and the enduring question of what truly defines a family. Is it blood and biology, or is it the love, sacrifice, and shared experiences that bind people together? Lulu Spencer's argument is that her love for Rocco is the only truth that matters. She raised him, she taught him, she held him through every fever. In her heart, she is his mother in every way. But for Rocco, the lie has tainted everything. The truth has shattered the simple purity of his origins, replacing it with a complex and painful story of theft and deception. As he navigates this new reality, his anger and sense of betrayal are immense. He now faces a choice. Can he forgive the mother who raised him for a lie she told out of love? Or will he turn away from the Falconeri-Spencer clan and seek solace in the family of the woman who gave him life, but never a mother's love? The path to healing for this fractured family will be long and arduous. Brooklyn's meddling has unleashed a torrent of pain that will not be easily contained. As Rocco confronts his past, the entire city of Port Charles will be forced to watch as one of its legacy families fights to survive the fallout. The unbreakable bonds of love are being tested against the corrosive power of a decades-old secret, and only time will tell if the love that raised Rocco will be strong enough to overcome the lie that created him. The only certainty is that in Port Charles, the aftershocks are just beginning. Thanks for watching this videos. Please hit the subscribe button for more updated news.